Hello everyone and welcome to Power Rangers Stories. Here I bring you the untold and what could have been stories. So sit back, relax and get ready to listen to some more phenomenal adventures. Also don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell to get notifications on the latest videos. And may the power protect you. Ninja Storm, the Pink Ninja Ranger. Chapter 20, Sensei Switcharoo. Zoey was unboxing some new merchandise when Jenna, Raina, and Andy came in from the back with more boxes. Kelly had offered the new Rangers a part-time position helping with stock. Working it out with Sensei, Cam will be tutoring them in certain classes, while they do extra credit work online. Since they're supposed to be finishing the year at a special martial arts school, they have to get some actual class work done. You know, I didn't think becoming a ranger meant becoming a stock boy. Rolling his eyes, Andy hung up some clothes. Oh, suck it up, Raina chimed in. It's not like your mom didn't make you help out at the sports center with your brother. Looking at Jenna with an amused grin, Zoey just continued unboxing. You two should be grateful we were able to get Kelly to take you on. Especially with her not knowing who we are. That's debatable. The Ice Ninja threw in. We still need to be able to earn money, Zoey threw a shirt at her friend, and continue with our lives outside of the academy. We can't arouse suspicion. Seeing Hunter and Blake, both having come back in from the track, over by the counter talking to Cam, Jenna got up to talk to them. No flirting or PDA, Jenna Lee. You're on the clock. The Pink Ranger called out, causing everyone to laugh as her friend stuck her tongue out. Hey, guys, I want you to meet my dad, Dustin called as he walked into Storm Chargers with an older man. The others stood up and walked over. This is Hunter, Blake, Cam, Jenna, Zoey, Raina, and Andy, the Yellow Ranger introduced the seven, who smiled back. Only ones missing are Tori and Shane, Jenna smirked. Tori's a pretty cool person, but you're not missing much with Shane. Zoey said, who fist bumped her friend. I'm Jake. His father just laughed. Dustin's told me everything about you. His words made them all freeze. 7 sets of eyes shot to Dustin staring, and he grinned back. Not everything, promise, he laughed quietly, and they sighed in relief. I hear some of you are from Angel Grove, Jake asked, and nodded as 4 of them raised their hands. Great place. How did you deal with all those monster attacks growing up? He asked, and they laughed. With great difficulty. Raina said, the monster alarms that Blue Bay has, which is the same ones for every town that's been attacked, was created in Angel Grove. The others nodded, yeah, and they initiated certain protocols for curfews, emergency drills, evacuations, and relief aid. Zoey said, proudly. It's all still in place today, just in case. Yeah, and they created a free insurance to anyone who could prove they had been attacked or put under a spell by a monster. Andy grinned, my mom was so happy when they did that. We were downtown one day when the alarms sounded. We had to leave our car behind. He chuckled, when we found it the next day, we saw that it had been crushed by a Zord. This is my boss Kelly, Dustin said, when everyone stopped laughing. He called their boss over as she went to walk past. Kelly smiled at Dustin's dad, shaking his hand. Hey, nice to meet you. Can I help you with something? Kelly asked, smelling a sale a mile away. Yeah, we just stopped by to pick up some new gloves, Dustin grinned. Dad thrashed his last pair. Jake smiled sheepishly as Dustin laughed at him. You guys ride together? That is so cool. Hunter exclaimed, and the other 2 males nodded in agreement. I taught him everything he knows. Jake exclaimed with a grin. Yeah, he did, it's true, Dustin nodded, and the 2 went to buy the racing gloves from Kelly. A guy and his dad. Hunter sighed heavily, his smile dropping. I miss that, he admitted. Yeah, me too, Blake agreed, just as down as his brother. So do I, Cam's admittance made all 3 look around at him quickly. What are you talking about? Hunter raised an eyebrow at the samurai. At least your dad's still around, he argued. Somehow, I don't think high-fiving a guinea pig is the same thing, Zoey told them watching Dustin high-five his father. She put a comforting hand on Cam's shoulder. Yeah, I guess you're right, Hunter had to agree. While Sensei was still around, he couldn't be much of a father while he was stuck as a guinea pig. Walking onto Tommy's land, Andy stopped and held out his arm. Whoa. Do we look like horses to you? Raina grabbed his shirt, pulling him to her. Next time, just ask us to wait. Grinning, he pulled her hand off of him. Sorry. He looked at the girls. Does anyone see the extra vehicles sitting in the driveway? Looking up, they saw Tommy's black Jeep parked in its usual spot. Next to it was a red truck and a black SUV. Isn't that Jason's truck? Raina asked. Yeah, Andy agreed, and Adam's SUV. He looked around in a panic. What are they doing here? They can't be here? We can't be here. Let's go back to Blue Bay. They grabbed the lightning ninjas as they started to leave. Don't even think about it, fireflies. Zoey said, tugging Andy around, you two have been avoiding talking to your brothers since you got here. Now, you're going to ranger up, not literally, and march right through those doors. Did she just call us fireflies? He asked, looking at his partner. I'm trying to decide if I should be insulted. Raina said, nodding. Let's go. Tugging them along, Zoey thought she saw a set of headlights coming from the woods. Shaking it off, she walked up the steps with the others and right into the house. Tommy? Where you at, big bro? We're in here. They walked into the living room to see not just Tommy, Jason, and Adam, but Billy, Zach, Rocky, and Justin were there as well. Justin. Zoey ran over and gave him a hug. I thought I saw Stormblaster hiding in the trees. That's how you got here? Jason looked at the blue Turbo Ranger incredulously. Where do you even keep him? Oh, he laughed nervously. You don't have to worry about that. I have a special place for him. No one knows where to find him. Deciding to help out his fellow Blue, Billy interjected, technically, Stormblaster has two homes. Though I'm not exactly sure where his special place is, he usually stays housed at the command center. With Lightning Cruiser. As everyone laughed, Tommy spoke up, thank you, girls, for bringing them here. What? Raina and Andy said, looking over at the girls incredulously. Sorry guys, Zoey grinned, walking over to her brother, you were being chicken. Look, you too, Adam said, standing up, we're not mad, if that's what you're worried about. We're actually pretty proud of you. Adam's right. Rocky wrapped his arms around Raina's shoulders, we couldn't be happier. Our siblings followed us down the Power Ranger path. We're not mad, Adam continued, but we are upset. I mean, how could you learn about us, and not tell us who you are? We had to hear it from Tommy. Rocky complained. We're sorry. Really? Raina hugged her brother, tears in her eyes, it's not like we didn't want to. You knew about us being ninjas, still don't know how you figured that one out, but we were worried you wouldn't approve. First, you will never know how we figured that out, everyone chuckled as Adam continued. Second, you don't have to worry about our approval. Are we worried? Yes. Always. But it would be hypocritical of us to disapprove. I'm proud and honored that my brother gets to carry on the Black Ranger legacy. True that, man, Zach clapped Andy on his shoulder, and the fact that he's another Zach man is even more perfect. Yeah. I think it's great that there's another female White Ranger. At least she's from Earth this time. Rocky shrugged. Huh? The alien rangers from the planet Aquitar. Their leader, a female, was a White Ranger. That is so cool. Raina exclaimed in excitement. You do realize that Alyssa from Wild Force was white, right? Zoey asked. She was? Rocky cocked his head. I guess I forgot. They don't talk about their colors. They're the iron bison or surging shark. Was Merrick silver or blue? He was the lunar wolf, so... Silver, I think. Huh. How long are you guys here for? Jenna asked. Before anyone could react, their morphers went off. Go for Zoe. Zoe, Dad wants the four of you to stay on standby. They just finished fighting a giant foot monster, and he's quite certain that this isn't the end of it. The genius answered. It never is. A foot monster, really? She looked around at the weird looks everyone she was getting. They are really running out of ideas. Don't worry. We'll keep our comms open. Thanks, Cam. No problem. I'll let you know the moment he reappears. Cam out. Shaking his head, Zach looked at his former teammates. Whatever happened to the good old monsters? Bring back Pudgy Pig. Please. Tell me about it. Jason said, or what about that turtle? Had the traffic light on his back. What was his name? I believe that was Shell Shocker. Billy answered, but I think one of my favorites was Madame Woe. That's because you got a date after the fight. The former mastodon said, what was her name? Margot? Marge. Oh, that's right. Marge. He grinned, looking at the genius, but that's not as good as the magnet brain. What was the girl's name you were crushing on? Wasn't she Kim's friend? Sighing, Billy just looked at his friend, Laura. Oh, that's right. Laura. I don't know. I kinda liked that girl from our art class. What was her name? Adam put his hand on his face and thought, that was when Billy got captured and cloned. She ended up making a sculpture of you in class. Billy sighed, her name was Violet. If I remember correctly, Tommy interjected, she made the sculpture of Billy as the Gold Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. She said that if anybody had the qualities of a ranger, it was Billy. Everyone just laughed. All right, Zoe stepped in. You all have some pretty embarrassing stories from your times as rangers. If you don't want me to start telling them, you'll leave him alone. And I assure you, I know every one of them. That shut them up really quick. There are some things best not spoken out loud. Nodding, she turned to leave, I'm hungry. After she left, Andy turned to Tommy, they told us what you did with their morphers. Could you do the same for ours? You know, while she's getting food. Laughing, he gestured them to follow him to the lab. After a few hours of food and stories, the non-embarrassing kind, the Ninja Ranger's morphers went off. Go for Jenna. Guys, we need you back in town. Footzilla has returned and we really need your help. Footzilla? Everyone snickered, how original. We'll be right there. Disconnecting, she looked at the others, sorry to cut this short. We'll try to be back as soon as possible. No problem. You four be careful. Tommy said, giving everyone hugs. Zoe paused on her way out, I really hope that was a joke. Jenna nodded, especially coming from him. Holding up their arms, they called on their morphers, ready? Ready. Fire storm. Ice storm. Lightning storm. Ranger form. Ha! Power of fire. Ice. Lightning. Ninja power. The older rangers, watching them from the porch, laughed. Waving by, the four ninja rangers streaked back to Blue Bay. I wish we could do that. Zach said wistfully. Ninja streak, I mean. Not morphing. Really don't want to do that again, unless I really have no choice. He explained. Agreeing, Jason nodded his head, it would definitely have come in handy. But we had the teleportation system at the command center. Had. Billy looked over in surprise, what do you mean had? It's still there. When we got the power chamber rebuilt, thanks to KO-35 and the Equations. Teleportation was one of the first things that got set up. What? Well, it's only used for emergencies now. Visiting alien diplomats and such. Hearing his phone ring from inside, he didn't see the incredulous looks being thrown his way, but smirked when he heard the laughing from the only Turbo Ranger. After all, he's a regular visitor to the power chamber and helps keep the systems running. Maybe I'll see if Justin's ready for a more permanent role. They got to the scene of the battle at the same time as the others. Nice of you to show up, Shane, Zoey said, not looking at him. Unless you want me to light your ass on fire, I'd suggest you, can it, and morph. Agree. But, let's catch you four up, shall we? Tori said, looking at them. Sensei and Shane had switched bodies. Explain why and how later, and now Sensei and Dustin have switched. That's the bad guy. Let's take him down. Got it. They came behind Footzilla, falling into fighting stances. When Dustin cleared his throat, Mara and Capri pointed to the monster to turn around. He cried out, upset, throwing the shoes in his hands into the air. Rangers? You're not gonna step on my party, he declared. Really bad pun, dude. Andy said, shaking his head. We're gonna wipe you out, Toe Jam. Shane yelled. Really, Shane? Jenna said, hitting him upside the head. Quit with the bad puns, already. Yeah, 'cause that one was just gross. Zoey nodded. You sounded like Kim again. Zoey shuddered at Jenna's words. Ready? Sensei asked calmly, his arms behind his back. Ready. Ninja storm. Ranger form. Power of water. Earth. Air. After you, Sensei invited. They drew their weapons and ran at Footzilla. He fought them off and kicked them back before Sensei stepped in. He fought off Footzilla with power that clearly took years to master. Wow. Tori breathed in amazement. Now that's what I call a ninja master. Impressed, Reina just nodded her head. It is interesting to note the difference between Red Ranger and Yellow Ranger's physiology, Sensei commented as he straightened up. Maybe you could do that after the fight? Tori offered with a weak smile. Excellent point, Sensei nodded. You must pay, evil space alien, Sensei spoke as he looked back to Footzilla, who just scoffed. And you think I'm corny, the monster yelled before laughing. He fired a blast of energy at Sensei, who narrowly dodged it. I'm walking all over ya, he declared as he ran after them. Before he could attack again, Hunter and Blake knocked him down with a kick. Time to give this foot the boot, Hunter spoke as the pair straightened up, ready to join the fight. Next person to call out a foot pun gets a taste of my foxfire. The annoyed Pink Ranger held up her bow, and I don't care who I shoot. The brothers looked over at her, scared. Hunter shook his head and turned to his brother. Ready? Ready. Thunderstorm, Ranger form. Power of thunder. Morphed, they formed their staffs into giant crosses. The two sent them flying through the air, sending flames at the alien. Cam flipped into battle and kicked the monster back. Oh, great. Another one. Footzilla complained as Cam stood looking down at him. Don't worry, I'm the last one, the samurai said, before leaping down and slashing at the monster with his saber. Leaping away as the ranger regrouped, the giant foot laughed. I've tagged you all with anti-gravity bunion pads, he suddenly declared, confusing them until they noticed strange pads on their suits. He's definitely getting one of my arrows, Zoey tugged on the pad, as soon as I get this dang thing off. She tried tugging the patch off unsuccessfully. When they wouldn't budge, Footzilla laughed even more. A little lighter on your feet, the alien said, anti-gravity power, now. He activated the patches and they all floated into the air. They cried out, unable to control themselves. So, still hanging in there, Rangers? Footzilla taunted. Hey. Shane yelled at him, struggling to stay upright. Put us down. Okay, you asked for it. Footzilla twisted his staff and Shane was plunged through the air and smashed into the ground. Shane. Tori cried. I'm dizzy. Cam complained. I like a roller coaster as much as the next person, Andy complained, but this is ridiculous. Hold on, guys. Zoey commented. You're grounded, Red Ranger. Footzilla mocked as he stood over the Red Ranger. Shane, Sensei called out, focus your energy. I'll distract Footzilla. Calling on the lion hammer, he threw it, so it slammed into the back of Footzilla. The monster scrambled around and slammed into a couple of crates. Shane. Use your inner ninja skills to extract yourself. Concentrate. Sensei told the ranger. Shane closed his eyes and focused before calling on his power to break free. Ninja power of air. Break free. As Footzilla recovered and walked towards him with another laugh, Shane burst out of the ground and gripped the monster, throwing him through the air. He then blasted Footzilla with his hawk blaster, and as he fell to the ground, the patches disappeared from the rangers' suits, and they all crashed to the ground, with only Sensei landing on his feet. What are you, a cat? Reina asked. I definitely need to work on my balance. Zoey complained, that was embarrassing. Good job, Shane, Sensei complimented, as he handed the Red Ranger his fallen sword. Thanks, Sensei. I think a little of you must have rubbed off on me, he grinned as he returned his sword to its sheath on his back. I'm not through yet. Footzilla yelled as he staggered towards them, and they all turned around. Come on, guys. Shane called, and they all combined their weapons. Thunderstorm cannon. Arctic flame shot. Shocker blades. Crossbow mode. Stinger sais. Blaster mode. Ready? Ready. Fire, they blasted the monster with the powerful attack, destroying him. As expected, within moments, Footzilla reappeared, laughing hysterically as he stood over them. Cam, the Zords, Sensei looked to his son, who nodded. Sure thing. Cam pressed a couple of buttons on his saber and called on the Zords. Andy. Reina. We found your Zords. Seriously? Looking up, they saw a giant scorpion and moth-like Zord coming forward. More bugs. Zoey complained. Is that a moth? I thought you were a butterfly, Hunter smirked. It's a monarch, you thunder jerk. Laughing, everyone jumped into their Zords. Hunter. Let's mix it up. Shane called out. Right. They called on the mini Zord, who combined their Megazords. Lightning Rangers. Your Zords come equipped with a combo mode. I'm sending you the power discs. All right. Power discs. Locked and dropped. The scorpion transformed to warrior mode, changing his stinger to a sword. The monarch attached itself to the warrior's back, giving it the power of flight. You've got to be kidding me. Zoey exclaimed. Seriously? Jenna threw her hands in the air. They've been rangers for what, 5 minutes? How come they get the upgrade and we're still fighting solo? We may discuss this at greater length once this battle is over. Sensei said, gesturing to the fight. Fine. I'm done with this freak, anyways. Zoey said, calling on her glaives. Footzilla threw more patches, which landed on the Zords, lifting them into the air. Up, up, and away, he taunted with another laugh. His laugh is really starting to get on my nerves, Jenna commented. Sensei, what do we do? Shane asked. I have taught you all you need to know, Shane, was Sensei's only response. Thunderstorm, full power, they called, using the power of the Lion Blaster, defeating Footzilla. Zoey. Cam exclaimed, covering his eyes, do you mind? You're blinding me here. Sorry, Cam. The fire ninja, who had been practicing her recently acquired dino powers, turned off the lights and lowered her hands with a grin. Who would you rather practice? Reina asked, leaning against the table. Zoe, who might blind you for a minute, or Jenna, who can give you frostbite. Is there a third option? Andy asked with a smirk. Shut it, bug breath. Zoe glared, raising her hand. Or I can give you option 1. Oh. Reina raised her hand, jumping up and down. Can we vote on that? The Black Ranger just put his hand on his friend's head and shoved her against the table. Zoe, did you talk to Tommy? He asked. Yes, I did. Unfortunately, everyone had to leave, but they said they'll see us the first chance they get. She looked at Andy and smirked. Zach seems to think he's going to challenge the new Black Ranger to a sparring match to see who reigns supreme. Let the games begin. The Black Ranger said, rubbing his hands together in glee. Everything is all set, Cam said, once the laughter died down. Dustin stood on his pad, excited to become human again. I never realized how hard it must be for you not to have a human father, Sensei said to his son, who smiled sadly. Whatever form you're in, I'm there for you, Cam told him, and I know you're always there for me. What? He couldn't have waited until he was no longer Dustin? Reina leaned over and whispered to Andy, that has got to be awkward. Andy just wrapped his hand around her mouth, trying his hardest not to grin. Hey, an off switch. Hunter said, elated, you think that would work on Zoe? Ignoring the color commentary around him, Dustin sat on the pad, scratching behind his ears. This is all really cool, but can we get this over with? I think I've got fleas. They have shampoo for that, you know. Zoe smirked mischievously. This is where that off switch would come in. Dustin said, looking at Hunter. The ninja master, ignoring the side comments, stepped onto the platform and Cam activated the system. A moment later, Dustin and Sensei swapped bodies and the real Dustin smiled, jumping off the platform. Oh, yeah. I'm not furry, he cheered happily. Oh, what a trip. And I have returned to my rodent form, Sensei nodded. Don't worry, Dad. I'm going to find a way to make you human again. Cam told him. I know you will try your best, son, he told him, before Shane tapped Cam on the shoulder. Hey. Cam, there won't be any, after effects from being a guinea pig or anything, will there? He asked as they all stared at Dustin, who was scratching his head like a dog. Highly improbable, Cam said slowly. How about a flea collar? Jenna grinned over at the fire ninja, who just smirked before rubbing her temples. Are you okay? Yeah. Just a headache. Zoe winced while pressing against her fingers against her head. It'll pass. Don't worry about it. Then Dustin grabbed the bag of sunflower seeds and started shoveling handfuls into his mouth. Are you sure about that? Jenna asked, looking amused and disgusted all at once. Oh, man, this stuff is awesome, he said, causing the others to laugh. What? Before the laughter died down, Zoe got a little dizzy and leaned on the mainframe table. Everything around her started to get fuzzy. She saw Jenna, or she thought it was Jenna, waving her hands in front of her face. Hearing an echo, she looked around at the hands that grabbed her shoulder. The last thing Zoe remembered was Hunter catching her before she fell and blacked out. To be continued. That's it for Chapter 20 of Ninja Storm, the Pink Ninja Ranger. I'll be having a lot more of this series out soon, continuing the Pink Ranger story. Remember, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and turn on the bell. As always, may the power protect you, and see you for the next adventure.